welcome to the Over 50 Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin English, founder of The Silver Edge. Our mission at The Silver Edge is to inspire men and women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s and beyond to live their strongest, healthiest, most fulfilling lives. In this podcast, we share stories of amazing individuals who are doing just that to help motivate you to become the healthiest version of yourself, regardless of your age. And now, on to today's podcast. Hi, folks. Welcome to the Over 50 Health and Wellness Podcast. Today, my guest is Ted Kalriess. Ted is a 62-year-old, very fit individual with a great Instagram site, and I think you'll find a diverse set of skills. Welcome to the show, Ted.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Pleasure to be here.
Great. Hey, we want to dig into your fitness. We want to dig into your Instagram account a little bit, and certainly your take on nutrition. But before we do that, take us back and tell us a little bit about your childhood. Were you active as a kid? Did you play sports?
Well, sure. I grew up in Staten Island, New York, so on the streets of New York, and basically there wasn't a lot of green areas. So I was active as a kid, but I was not certainly wasn't on any of the varsity major sports. I did make varsity track, and that was about it. Always been a very lean individual, pretty lean as a kid, skinny kid. So for me, putting on weight and increasing bulk had always been a challenge. So I grew up in New York. I went to school down in Delaware, and then I moved down to the Washington, D.C. area where I've been for several decades. And fitness has been a part of my life, more of a serious part in the last few years than it has been growing up. So I certainly wasn't your typical, I was more of a geeky kid, I guess, maybe than the jock. That's for sure.
Gotcha. And what did you do for a career after school?
I went to school for engineering, got out, and I've been in construction as a construction manager or as a contractor for the last 40 plus years now. So,
fantastic.
In the Washington, D.C. area.
Okay. And so you mentioned that you got serious about your fitness here in the last few years. Tell us a little bit about what precipitated that. What caused you to get into fitness at this stage in your life?
Well, I'd always been mindful of my diet, my waist. And, when I would see that I start to get a pot belly, I'd get very conscious about it, and I start to go on a crash diet, and I went through all the diets, the Atkins diets, all the different kinds of diets you could have, pretty much did them all. And I found as I got older, things would change. But what had changed for me as I got older more than anything was I got injured. I started getting injured more and more. And I first injured my shoulder probably when I was in my 30s, and then tore a couple tendons in my shoulder, had to have rotator cuff surgery. That was kind of an impetus for me, that surgery, because it set me back so much. I was out of work for a period of time. I couldn't have the use of my left arm. So just doing everything, every little task was a challenge. So I had then created a goal that year after my surgery, I was going to, I wanted to be in really great shape and have a six-pack and really be in terrific shape. So I set that goal because of that surgery. When I was 60.
When you were 60, okay, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So you had the surgery that set you back, and that's when you set the goal. I saw that you had a post that said, I got serious about a six-pack when I turned 60. And in that post, I think you went on and talked about an old farts toolkit, as a matter of fact. Can you talk a little bit about what a toolkit would look like for old farts like us?
Yeah, well, now that I'm 60, I think I've torn – every year I go by, I seem to tear another muscle, another tendon or something. In the last 3 years, I've torn 5 tendons or ligaments. So it's frustrating. So I think the toolkit, as you get older, is flexibility becomes more and more important. The idea of just being able to just stretching and then doing a hard workout and then doing a little stretching after that. For me, it doesn't work. It may work for other people. I just found it's really important that I had to really work hard and spend. In fact, I even had a young fellow say to me, I'm gonna stretch as much as I lift, and it was kind of interesting because it stuck with me a little bit. And the more I found it, the more that I stretched and flexed, the better results I would have, both in the gym but also afterwards. So I think that's very important, and because we tend to push ourselves, and I tend to push myself. I think having PT, having a personal trainer, having a physical therapist becomes necessary at times. Having a good chiropractic person, there's just a lot of things that you can develop as you get older, and eccentricities in your body and weak muscles become even more apparent as you get older. You really have to work on that. So I've learned a lot, frankly, in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like you have. It sounds like it's been quite a journey. And clearly one of the things that happen as we age is we just don't recover quite as quickly. So that's your point is well taken about the flexibility, the mobility, and all of that work. I think that's much more important as we age, that we have an emphasis there and not just on the work itself.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about, you're obviously in great shape. What does a day or a week of working out look like for you?
Well, now it's a little different. I've gone through some health problems here in the last 6 months, Kevin. In September, I had my right shoulder redone. So I'm still recovering from that surgery, and I was set back with some kidney problems in December, and then I had prostate surgery in February. And then an autoimmune reaction to that. So I've gone through a little bit of a challenge back here. But having said all that, what a typical day looks for me is, and has looked for me, I'm getting back to it now, and it's really been probably the last 2 months I've had to lay back a little bit because of illnesses. However, I typically work out 5 to 6 days a week. I usually will do one day, I'll just do stretching. Just an hour or more of stretching. And I have a coach for that, a Russian coach, Nadia, who you'll see on my IG page. She's a wonderful dance teacher and a stretching coach, yoga coach. But I typically will work out 5 to 6 days a week. I'll start off with some either rowing or free elliptical type work. And then I'll go into a full body workout. It's been what I'm doing lately. When I get back into it, I'm fully healed with this right arm, which is currently limiting me so much. Then I'll go back into the traditional day on, day off, where I'll do aerobic days on my off days, where I'll do 30 to 40 minutes. I don't have to do a lot of aerobic because of my metabolism. And then my heavy work days, I'll generally do 3 to 4 lift days during a week. Back, legs, chest, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. So more or less kind of that traditional bodybuilding sort of free weights or some type of gym equipment for the strength piece, and then on those off days doing conditioning work?
Yes, and of course, today's challenge, of course, not being able to get into a gym, and I haven't invested in a lot of gym equipment. That's been a little bit of a challenge. So I think you have to be flexible. Sometimes you're just going to do body weight exercises, and I think there's a lot of things you can do with body weight. There's a lot of things you can do with bands. There's a lot of things you can do, of course, with weights. I am a big believer in HIIT, high intensity interval training. So I'm a big believer in that. Most of my exercises that my trainer had prepared for me were structured in a way that we do supersets. So I do 2 sets of supersets of 3 or 4 exercises. So you basically get 8 exercises in, and you do that in about 40 minutes. And between the warm-up, warm-down stretching, and exercising, you're probably spending about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half in the gym every day, except for the aerobic days.
And you mentioned that you really kind of got started around age 60 a couple of years ago. Is that when this routine more or less started? Is that about how long you've been doing this?
Yeah, before that, I was more of your occasional 2 to 3 day a week type gym person. And if I really wanted to have a model type body, you can't do it. You got to put the effort in. And it really does take a lot of effort. It takes a heck of a lot of effort with the diet. And frankly, your physique is made in the kitchen. It's not made in the weight room. Now, how you can carve a physique, and I found I can actually carve muscles. It's really cool when you focus on it. So you can do that, but it's made in the kitchen. It's not made in the weight room.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Certainly the six pack that's people seem to be looking for is definitely made in the kitchen. It's made in those 23 hours that you're not in the gym. That gym work is important. You got to have the muscular structure underneath. But if your body fat is above a certain percentage, you're not going to have visible abs. You're not going to have that model type physique. I just want to bring up, you had mentioned adapting and not being able to get in the gym right now. So anybody listening to this podcast in the future, we're recording this in April of 2020. And of course, the coronavirus is keeping all of us out of the gym currently. And Ted, I saw on one of your posts, you had this great DIY band setup that you showed how to do rather inexpensively and fairly easily and demonstrated some good workout techniques there. And I think that all of the fitness folks that are not in their gym and out of their regular routine are now kind of struggling a little bit with finding new routines, new normals. We don't know when we're going to be back to, quote unquote, normal gym life. So there's a lot of folks looking to do, different types of body weight exercises, making do with what equipment they do have.
Yeah, that's true. I wish I had invested in pig iron about 4 months ago or 2 months ago. Have you seen what people are trying to charge for kettlebells? It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, the folks that had a well-stocked home gym, they're living the dream right now, no doubt. Well, let's see. So obviously you're very fit. Let's unpack your nutrition a little bit. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about we talked about what your workout might look like. What does your nutrition look like day to day? What sort of things are you eating versus what you're not eating? You mentioned that you've tried a lot of diets, and I think that most of our listeners are going to be able to resonate with that, right? I've tried this. I've tried the keto. I've tried the Atkins. I've done paleo or vegan or some other diet. What are you doing currently, and how did you get there, and what works best for you?
Well, I'm glad you put it that way, Kevin, because you really have to focus on what works best for you. Because the thing about diets is, people try to apply diets uniformly, and it doesn't work. It's just like trying to apply a training schedule uniformly to people. It just doesn't work. You have to find out the things that you react to, that you shouldn't be eating. I found out, I shouldn't be eating popcorn. Seems like when I eat popcorn, I could immediately look to my waist and there it is. Other things I'm not as sensitive to. But I've struggled, frankly, for decades. I've tried everything to try to lose weight. And I've looked at blood chemistry and all sorts of things. All I can say is simply this. If once you can get past whether or not you got thyroid problems or that sort of thing, if you're just a normal human being, you really have to focus on creating a diet that is going to reduce your caloric intake, because that's the way you're going to lose weight. You have to do it in a way that doesn't stress your body and gives your body days to rebound, and whether or not that's through having your cheat days or whatever the case is. You need that mentally as well. But I found that for me, the only way for me to really work a diet was to change my lifestyle. So I just decided I'm not going to eat certain things. Yeah, I like pizza, but I cut bread out, and I cut a whole bunch of things out. I kept cutting things out until I found what worked for me and would change my my diet. And I know when I go to cut what I have to do. When I first went to cut and get that 6-pack and 8-pack, it took me 12 weeks, and I went on an insane diet to do that, and I cut it, and that was great. But, that's really hard to maintain. So then you have to figure out how you're going to maintain that, how you're going to go through a daily life. For me, I'm very simple. I pack a lunch bucket every day, and, I have my water in there. I have my morning snack, my afternoon snack. I have my lunchtime, and I've figured out well in advance a series of foods and meals that I can eat and not have to count calories and do all that sort of nonsense and maintain my weight. Frankly, it's pretty much the same thing every day. It can get very boring. That's the sacrifice I make if I want to have a six pack. I'm 60 years old. I'm not going to have a six pack like this unless I make sacrifice. So get it out of your head if you think you're going to do it otherwise. Models go through a hell of a lot in order to look good. So I can experience some of that pain. Right now, I don't have quite that six pack that I like, and soon I'll get back to it. I'll post
that's there you go, and that's very well said. Your comments and thoughts on diet versus lifestyle, and I think that a lot of people, we've alluded to try the X diet, the Y diet, the Z diet. The reason those don't really work long term is because, by their very definition, they're diets. They're not a lifestyle change. And I think that that's a hard thing for some people to grasp. It also sounds like you have done a lot of eliminating foods out of your diet. I'm going to guess that you eat a lot of whole foods and not a lot of processed foods. Would that be a fair statement?
That definitely would be a fair statement, Kevin. I'm a single ingredient food type person. So with the exception of some meals that I'll order online, particularly nowadays, but for the most part, I believe in cooking your own meals. So I traditionally would prepare my meals for the week, my lunches for the week on the weekend. If I'm not doing that, then I'm buying some organic pre-prepared meal, and I'll have that. I am not going to eat something out of a box unless I know what's in it, and I'm always looking at the ingredients. The first thing I'm going to look at.
Yeah, I get the question. What do I eat, or usually it's what they're really saying is, what should I eat? And going back to your comments, that's really, really hard for me to say unless I know you very well. I'm not going to be able to tell you what you should eat. But my one piece of advice that's consistent is eat whole foods. Start there. Start eating whole foods. Get rid of the processed crap. And you'll find that I think that you'll find a lot of value just in making that one change. And it's not easy. When I first started my journey with health and fitness and diet, certainly making drastic changes, and I did. I made some drastic changes. I went completely vegan for a while. I dropped all dairy for a while. I took all gluten, just these big sweeping elimination type things. And over the years, I found that what works best for me, but similar to you, it was a years long journey. And I suspect that what works specifically for me might not work specifically for somebody else, specifically or particularly maybe somebody with a different body type, background, et cetera. So that's a tough one with the diet, but I do think that just the whole foods advice is certainly a great place for everyone to start.
And frankly, a lot of us know when we're cheating and we're not maintaining things. The other thing I think a lot of us will do is you can't give up too soon. You've created a body type for however old you are. So you're not going to change it in 4 weeks. You're not going to change it in 8 weeks. It may take months for your body to adjust and to get to a point. And now I kind of feel like I'm at a point that my body always wants to adjust to the weight that I'm currently at. It doesn't. So when I start eating a lot, I find, oh wow, I can shed it back down. Now, if I keep that up long enough, I'm going to get fat again. And for now, it'll probably take 2 or 3 months. I'll get fat. So that's the thing I think most people really need to focus on. Is you need to plan it out and just stay with it. Stay with it for at least 3 months.
Yeah, that's also very solid advice. A lot of people are looking for that quick fix, and we have this instant gratification society, and certainly changing your body type takes months, not typically, certainly not days, not weeks. Takes a long time, and I think to know, going back to food sensitivities and what macro balance is best for you, I think that also takes quite some time, right? Through trial and error, and you can't try something for a week and tell whether or not that's going to have a long-term impact. I think that certainly, the whole idea of trying something for months on end it certainly has a lot of value to it.
Sure. I would also recommend to people, and particularly as you get older, that get your blood work done, find out where you may need to make some adjustments back. right before my surgery in September, I decided to go partially vegan. So I cut out a good portion of meat eating, particularly during lunchtime. And I found I was able to affect my blood chemistry. Now, it may be a little harder for me to get back to that six-pack because I'm cutting down the protein and trying to reduce the creatinine levels that are in my blood, frankly. So, I think you have to watch that too. And as you get older, you also have to watch that protein intake. So we're always, I'm finding I'm also having to balance my protein intake with the results I want to get and my overall general health. So bottom line, please, get your blood work done, talk to a doctor. Us guys particularly can be stubborn and stupid and not do that. And it's harder to do that today, but it's important. You should do it.
So, I've got a couple of things I wanted to explore with you from looking at your Instagram site. And you and I talked a little about this. We started recording on this. Let's talk a little bit about your photography, because I think that especially some of your portrait stuff is just absolutely stunning. You have great photography. Are you setting up a camera and taking your own photos? Is somebody else photographing you? What is your process for getting some of these pictures?
I set the camera up and try to get it in focus, and I'm an amateur photographer. And basically I set it on, to take like 20 pictures or something like that and hope I get a good one out of it half the time. So, and you can tell, since you have me candidly, that I don't really photograph that well. So, so it's by sheer luck, those pictures come out that well, Kevin.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm not so sure I'm buying all of that. I think you might have a little more photogenicness than you're letting on. But you obviously your site's got some great photography, and I'll drop your Instagram handle into the show notes so folks can look you up, and I'll put that in our little intro as well. So I've also seen on your Instagram you've got some great, some pretty classic looking dancing pictures. I suspect you're a dance enthusiast, maybe.
Yes, well, my wife and I are ballroom dancers. Unfortunately, we've both been benched for the last couple of years, for the most part. Me because of my shoulder, her because of her hips. So, all the more why this discussion is more relevant, because as you get older, we want to continue dancing, but we have these physical limitations. And then how do you work through that? How do you heal from those sorts of things? So, but yes, we're ballroom dancers. We like bachata. And Latin, salsa, foxtrot, waltz, all those things. We have a daughter who's an Arthur Murray dance teacher, and very, very talented young lady. So we've got a little bit of interest in our family with that.
And is that one of your main hobbies then, outside of just your health and wellness lifestyle?
Seems like I have quite a few hobbies lately. But that is one of our main hobbies would be dance. We also, but we're also big into fitness. My wife and I are enjoying our home made DIY fitness room that we put together, and we enjoy just going out and eating, enjoying our grandkids and our family. So.
Well, that's great. I saw also that you have looks like you like to spend some time outdoors. You've got some great pictures of you doing pretty much I believe a full split, which is very impressive in front of a river. You've got some other pictures of you in some pretty flexible and yoga poses outdoors. Are you spending a good amount of time outdoors as well?
Yes, we are. I love the outdoors. And of course, nowadays, it's a little bit more of a challenge with everybody being outside. Everybody's outside nowadays, so you actually have to be more careful outside than you have to be maybe if you're in a building, even in some cases. But we're fairly active. We have been active for a long time in that regard. And we love to walk our dog. We love to just take walks and hikes. But we're also very busy. My wife and I are business owners, so we have a lot of different interests, and we try to carve out time for each one of them.
That's great. And what about, you've alluded a little bit to this, especially as you've gone through some of your injuries and other challenges. What is your philosophy on recovery and sleep and the importance of that, and maybe even the growing importance of that as we age?
Wow, you hit me on a bad one, Kevin, because I'm a bad example of good sleep habits.
Oh, is that right? Okay, fair enough.
I am,
That's
unfortunately, because, and mostly, probably more because of work. I'm an early riser. So I work in construction. Construction has early work hours. So this morning, for example, I think I got up at 2:30. That was a little early. Normally I get up around 4, go to the gym, work out, and then I have a full day. So, and I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent, so I forgot your main point.
Asking about recovery and sleep. So no, you're answering the question exactly. You're just, I'm guessing you're not going to be a great advocate for sleep hygiene and getting a full 8.5 hours of wonderful sleep each night.
I would love to be able to get that much sleep. Frankly, I can't sleep more than about 6 hours myself. So 6 hours is about the max. Certain days I'll catch up and I'll get 7 or so. They also say, and this might be just simply something I was told, and now I believe it, that you need less sleep as you get older. So I tend to believe that. Of course, I'm a busy person. I try to pack more and more things into my life, so I tend to cut it from that end. But sleep is important. And frankly, if you really look at it, what's important for your body to heal is that overnight sleep, and particularly if you're working out every day. So I should be getting the maximum amount of sleep if I'm going to allow my body to heal. If I want that six-pack to appear, your body is still burning calories that whole time, and it really helps to let you heal and do that. I found that I can get in better shape when I do take care of myself and I do certain things. It just seems that, everything comes together, if that makes sense.
No, it certainly does. And that's something that I've been digging into more in the last few months, is really trying to improve my sleep. And I've noticed a marked effect on my overall health. It really makes it's a big difference maker, getting that quality sleep. So yeah, I'm a huge proponent of sleep as a recovery tool. So what's next for you? Obviously, we're in the middle of this Corona craziness. We're on lockdown. What do you have anything coming up, or you obviously recovering somewhat from the shoulder injury? Do you have events coming up, or looking forward to getting back into the gym? Obviously.
Well, I always have plans. So I set another goal in my last surgery, and that is September 18th of 2020. I need to be able to do a free handstand. So I haven't been able to do that. I just started doing handstands about 6 months before my surgery. So I feel like I'm stymied and I'm not strong enough to do it yet. So that's been a goal of mine. It's an important one for me to be able to do that on my anniversary. So I'm working on that. I've got a ton of projects around the house. I've got lots of deferred maintenance around the house that I've been doing. So that's been keeping us busy, keeping me busy. And frankly, I'm still out. I work in construction and I work in affordable housing. So we are still going forward. We're still actually starting projects because, more likely than not, if we were to get into a tougher period of time, then the need for affordable housing becomes even more critical, and all across the country for that matter. So I'm very busy with work. As you can see, I'm sitting at work right now, so I'm not at home. But I'm the only person in the office. Everybody else is remote. So yeah, I have a lot of things on my plans. I've got a dance room to construct in the house. I'm finishing up some clearing of some woodland on the property. I've got a spa I need to renovate. Actually, if you look at my Instagram page, you can see some of my unfinished projects. Now I need to get back to them again. So I got a lot of things to do, Kevin. I've got a ton of stuff to do, lots of goals, and I'm hoping I'm going to get at least 3 of those things done by September 18th.
Fantastic. And I guess in closing here, let's what advice would you give to somebody, a listener, say, in his 60s, listening to this, 50s, 60s, 70s, and maybe hasn't gone that far down the road of his or her fitness and nutrition? path yet. What sort of advice would you give to somebody who's wanting to get started?
Go see your doctor and get yourself checked out. Make sure you're healthy, and start small, and don't give up. Start a habit. To make a habit, it takes 30 days, right? So you got to go through a 30-day thing, and you'll find that as you do these things. Let's just say you just start out and you're just doing some elliptical work, and you're going to do 20 minutes or 30 minutes on elliptical, something nice and easy, not going all out, but do that, and you'll find that over a period of time, there's many days when I would not want to be at the gym. You just don't want to go, or you don't want to work out, but you'll find that you do it, and it becomes a habit, and you get used to it, and you just grit it out. And it's not going to come easy, guys. Look, if you're in your 60s and you want to get in great shape, it's going to be very tough, and you're going to really have to dedicate to it. But you could do something, improve your health, and I would really encourage everybody, particularly with respiratory issues and everything else like that, encouraging my kids who smoke, please stop smoking. Please, do something to improve your aerobic health. Do something to improve your overall health.
Very well said. Well, you look fantastic, and you are an inspiration. And I've really enjoyed having you on the show. Where can folks learn more about you or get in touch with you? Is Instagram the best place?
My Instagram page would be the best place. It's Ova. It's kind of a New York accent type of over, but Ova, OVA, 60 and fit on Instagram.
Well, thanks very much, Ted. I really enjoyed talking to you, and best of luck to you.
Thanks so much, Kevin. I really enjoyed being with you, and I appreciate the time.
Well, that's our show for today, folks. If you enjoyed today's episode, please tell your friends, and please consider subscribing and giving us a 5-star review. All the show notes and much more are available at our website at silver-edge.com. That's silver-edge.com. So until next time, stay strong.